Hi and welcome into another video. Today we'll start a very new framework in our channel, which will be NestJS. We will see what it is, how to install it, and then in a future videos, in a special NestJS playlist, we will be adding another building blocks to this project. So let's hop into the console and just start it. We are in the VS Code on our Ubuntu machine, and just let's firstly Google NestJS. So NestJS is a Node.js framework, so written in a JavaScript, and before we were using an Express framework, Express.js, to build our backend application, but today we'll use a NestJS. And funny fact is that actually NestJS underneath can use two frameworks to process the request, and it can be by default Express.js or Fastify. So let's firstly install it and go very briefly through the structure after the install, and then in another videos we'll be building it step by step and explaining some concepts from basic up to advanced ones. So let's go to the documentation and let's go first steps. And the first step will be that we will install the CLI. NestJS has a great built-in CLI that we can use to create some boilerplates, create the project, create some resources in it. So we will install it globally on our Ubuntu machine. So it took like 10 to 15 seconds, and now we will have available a NestCLI, where we can have some options like start, build, add, generate some kind of resources. Okay, so how to start that? We can use nest new and the project name. So let's create nest new. We will call it NestJS. And some questions as we were creating a Next.js project, so what package manager we would like to use. We will stick with npm, and it will create for us some basic boilerplate to that. We will go through those files in a moment. In the meantime, it's still creating, and as you can see, let's hop into the directory, and in the meantime we can talk about the basic structure. So source folder will have all the files containing the application itself. Test folders has some Jest stuff because Jest is installed by default in this application. Then slint rc, so linters are also installed by default, and a prettier. We can see in the meantime that application was installed. We have a TS config because TypeScript is also instantiated by default. We have some README and a basic package.json and packet log. So let's go to the source folder and see how it looks like. So main.ts will be an entry point for our application. More or less it's just 8 lines, and at the moment it is just bootstrapping the application to listen at port 3000. It would be more or less as instantiating an Express application using listen, create, and so on. And we have basic app files. So let's go one by one. NestJS by default creates a spec file, so it is a very brief NestJS file to do a tests of the application. We have a app module, which is always a very basic file of the created resources. So here we have a module which consists of an imports, controller, and providers. We will go more in the future videos, but for now you need to know that mostly when you generate a resource, it consists of a module, and which then wraps the controller and a service. Let's go through a default controller, and default controller consists of one get route, so this is a get decorator. So when we will hit this application on this port 3000, this main controller will work exactly in the like an Express.js application, and at the get route, it will take the app service get hello function, and in service we have a get hello function which returns just a string of hello world. So let's go to package.json and see how it looks. So we have a nest build to prepare a production build. We have a nest format which would create a pre-tier, which will go through the pre-tier. We have a start, so nest start dev. It's in the --watch flag, so it's almost like installing NodeMon and using it in Express.js or any JavaScript application. So it watches for the file changes, and if any file changes, you automatically refresh the app with some debugging, and also start production after the build from the dist main folder. We have linters and we have tests. So maybe let's run npm run test, see how it works. Okay, we are not in the folder NestJS, npm run test, and it will run a very basic jest suite. It found this one file called spec here, and it just ran it, should return hello world. We have it. It's just a very basic overview. We will talk about tests later. And maybe right now let's do npm run start dev with the watch flag. It will instantiate the app, and now we should be able to go to our local RP, so 192.168.1.31 at port 3000, and see hit this controller and get returned this function, so hello world. So let's go here, http 192.168.1.31 at port 3000, and yeah, we are getting this hello world. And as we are in the run watch, we can say it here, I'm watching, and let's see, it automatically refreshes, and we can refresh the page, and we are seeing it here. So that's a very basic overview of a NestJS application. We will utilize the CLI, which we installed today globally, a lot in the future to add new resources, and we will go step by step through each individual components of NestJS application. But as you can see from the beginning, using this nest new and instantiating an app, we are getting a very nice boilerplate that we can use right from the start, and we have already some controller service and module to go along with it. So that's all for today, and keep an eye on other videos from NestJS series. See ya next time.